One of my favorite case studies for this is with one of our clients, Duracell. So about 7 years ago, the R&D lab at Duracell, they invested in biometrics hardware and software through us. And they sort of had this question that was based off of an assumption. So Duracell has been in the battery business for almost a century, right? And you would think the battery business or industry is pretty concrete. You sort of, what people want, what the product is, right? So the assumption was that when it comes to assessing batteries, that battery life or duration is what people are interested in. Like you have the Energizer Bunny, with the little bunny banging the drums forever, right? So how long it lasts is really important. And that when it came to actual performance, consumers don't really perceive many differences in performance of a battery unless it's like really stark. So at Duracell, they actually thought, well, is there any proof behind this assumption? Is it true that consumers don't actually perceive any differences in flashlight performance? So what they did was a series of studies where they had people read content while illuminated by a flashlight. And they had the flashlight illuminated at different voltages. And they wanted to see, while people are reading with these different voltages affecting, of course, the luminance of the flashlight, does that affect their experience and their experience? Does that actually affect their experience as they're reading? And to do that, they looked at eye tracking glasses while people were reading, and not just for the actual reading, but they were actually looking at pupil size as a function of arousal. And then they also looked at EDA, so electrodermal activity is also known as skin conductance, which again gives you that sense of arousal. Now, if people were not able to detect any differences in the performance of the flashlight, then the metrics should be about the same, right? What they found was that physiologically, people are able to perceive differences in flashlight performance depending on the voltage, and that people actually found this a lot more important to them compared to battery life, which is what has been consistently the philosophy between product design there. So they ran multiple studies, and each time confirming people care more about performance, they care more about intensity in the moment and not so much about battery life. And with those results, it actually completely revolutionized Duracell's product development. And they actually started producing a new line of alkaline batteries that focused more on performance in the moment, more so than battery life. And in their internal testing, they found that those high performance batteries actually had higher consumer preference compared to the conventional batteries that were touting battery life throughout, that they were working with previously. So this is a really great example of a very unconventional question that was based off of an assumption within a particular market. Challenging that assumption and they use self-report, but they also use these implicit physiological tools to see what do people actually perceive, even if they don't report it. And then actually using the insights from that to go in a completely different direction with their product line that actually had some success for them down the road. So I love that story personally. I think it's super compelling.
Super compelling is the word. I mean, it's like you can start to redefine. And as a leader, if you're asking that question, how can I do better? I mean, just that itself is so wonderful. And then you go the extra mile to get it. And I mean, you set new standards, new benchmarks for the category. It's amazing.
Yeah.